Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy, do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
They got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughened him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their courtroom.
The fireworks are not done.
Now we're getting commentary on the case. Dati mihi Anglican, please.
Is that correct?
Literally not true. I didn't ask you to interrupt me. Oh, for front sake.
Good morning. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. Happy Podcast Thursday to you. Oh my. Let's see where we at. There we are. Lena. There you're on the screen already. Lena H, congratulations. You were first in chat this morning. We're going to punish you with internet ownership for your promptness. That's right. We're rewarding you with a punishment. Congratulations, I think. So. Shmoopy said they got a lot done before Arya went live, like the army. Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Hope you're well today. I'm feeling great. Although, I have a confession. Ready? We'll do birthdays here in a minute. I've got a confession. I've got a little story time. I've got a neighbor who's getting along in years, and we sort of watch out for him, right? So his family is determined that it's not safe for him to cook anymore. He forgets the stove's on and things like that. So we're watching out for him. He calls me this morning. That's where I was over there this morning because his TV stopped working. I always fix his TV and security and everything like that. Great guy. Love him to death. When his family took his stove and things out of his house, he didn't have need for some of the stuff in his freezer. So he brought over some food to give to us. And it had been frozen for a very long time. Many, many years. This food might be as old as I am. Okay? And we politely thanked him, and it went in the front door and out the back door into the garbage can. And garbage man came. Supposed to come yesterday. He came this morning. He was late. And I heard him come this morning. It was all fine. This morning, I go over to help him fix his TV. I'm walking back out with him, and he says, "What's that in the road?" And the bag of meat that we had put in the garbage, which had sat for most of the week, was the one item that didn't make it into the garbage truck. And it was all over the road. He's like, "Hey, let me come see what that is." I'm like, "Oh, crap." He's like, I'll get it. Let me just borrow your shovel real quick." So I'm running out with the shovel. And he follows me out there. I don't know if he knows. I got most of it out. And he's like, "Oh, let me finish this." Takes the shovel from me. I'm like, "I've got to go in the house. I don't know what to say. I don't know if he if he knows, if he remembers, if he recognizes it. This is like, this particular item of meat was, I don't know, I'd say, I'd give it a good 5 to 10 pounds of, it looked like chicken liver, something my family would never eat, right? Like a whole bunch of chicken livers, gizzards. I don't know what they were. It's like right there, and it's ripe. Oh, it's ripe. It's so bad. It's so bad. I haven't looked at him in the face yet since that. Sorry. To make matters worse, I couldn't even fix his TV so he could be like even, right? It was like, "Hey, sorry about that, but at least I fixed your TV." No, his cable's out. I think his The bill needs to be paid again. I'm terrible. I'm terrible. It's catfish bait. Yes, it's worse than that. It's like week-old catfish bait. Now it's back in my garbage. I'm going to have to burn the garbage can and ask for a new one. Oh, I'm sorry. I was worried he was going to see us on his security cameras throwing it in the garbage. So we like wrapped it in another bag. I don't know how it got out of the other bag. It was like his bag. It's like the 1930s shopping bag or whatever it was wrapped in. And then it's just like across the road. Oh my goodness. Greeners for Aria's cringe fund. He has meals provided for him. So I don't want you to see it. I don't want to go out and smell it. I think I touched some with my shoe. I might need new shoes. I'm worried about a couple things. My garbage can sits between my house and the Airbnb. We might get a complaint from our Airbnb guy. What do you put in a garbage can that's full of, I don't know, rotting chicken carcasses to make it smell better? What's the, is there like a little baking soda that just makes it go away? I'm asking for a friend. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. That just barely happened. That's why I was late this morning. I didn't know. I wasn't going to feed the cat this. It was, I don't know how to describe it. If there's such a thing as freezer rot, that's what it was.
In front of the Walmart.
It looked like, we can take it back to Walmart, ask for a refund. It looked like it had possibly the power had gone out and it had gone bad and then it had refrozen. That's how it looked. And it smells like that too. Jeannie, yes, this is something I need to repent of apparently. We don't have garbage. Okay, I'm going to have to do it myself. And I don't own a hose. There is one water spout on my property. It's on the Airbnb. It actually comes from their water, not mine. I mean, it's all my water. I pay for all the bills. But if I turn it on, they're going to hear like, oh, somebody turned the water on in the house. They're going to hear the water running. Mothballs, just bleach water. But I've got a week of it sitting in my can. Lime or charcoal, flamethrower. Good ideas. All these are good ideas. I guess just go to Walmart's murder aisle and get some cleaning supplies. Thanks for ruining my breakfast. Hey, I have not eaten either, and now I'm not hungry. So I don't know if we have a service that cleans cans around here, but they're going to charge me double for sure. Paint thinner. Should use some paint thinner, buy a new trash can. Okay, now here's part 2 of the story. I would 100% be willing to break my trash can and pay for another one. The only problem is I currently have 2 trash cans. And I'm pretty sure I'm only paying for one. So if I break one and ask for another, they're going to look at my bill and be like, 2 cans? I only show one on your bill. I've had 2 trash cans since I bought the house. And I said, it's not like I hide them. They're 15 feet from the road. It's the furthest they go. So now the stingy part of me, okay, the person who's trying to, save a buck is like, I'm not sure if it's worth it to break the can and get a new one, nor is it honest. Shame on me. Yes, shame on me. I didn't ask for 2 cans. They gave me 2 cans, and I pay whatever the bill is. Trust me, sometimes it's ridiculous. Sometimes it's 4 digits. Okay, 4 digits for water and power and garbage. That's a lot. It's a lot. So I don't feel bad. It's not like the town is not getting my money. Plus, they charge me. Okay, here, part 3 of this story. I get a call from the town. You know when the guy was breaking into my basement the other day? And I was mad at the water guys because they like led him over there. I called the town to talk to the manager. I'm like, I go full on, let me speak to the manager mode.
Taking it easy.
And they call me back, and I answer the call, and it's the billing department from the water company saying, hey, by the way, just wanted to remind you that we decided last month to stop taking your brand of credit card as a automatic payment, so now your bill is late. I'm like, excuse me? Like, yep, we decided not to take it anymore. I was like, you charge me $17 a month as a processing fee, and you decide not to take my card anymore, right? So now I have to figure out a new way to auto pay my bill or walk a check down to them every month, which I will forget. And we have to figure out by tomorrow or they're going to just shut everything off. So add that into the mix. All these things connect somehow, because that's the same person I have to talk to if I want a new garbage can. So there's one person. When you call the town, there's one person who answers the phone for every department. So I need some help. All right, we are about to go back to court today. Yeah, $17. I'm not even sure if that's like just for the credit card, if that's just, hey, we charge you that much for processing your payment. On top of some of the highest rates in the county and maybe even the state. It's time to move. How is that legal? Time to start collecting rainwater. I do. I collect the rainwater in my sump, which caused the water guys to come out and break into my basement. All these things are connected. It's one big conspiracy. Okay, so, and now I've got a stinky garbage can. I've got to figure something to do about. I think I'm gonna start with what I have. And I'm gonna go. First thing I have that's available is a whole ton of baking soda, because Mrs. R.A. buys baking soda in, 5-pound bags at Sam's Club, like industrial size bags. It's nearly in like by the barrel. But I think baking soda can sometimes help. Baking soda pellets, yes. Oh, name is mud. Even with the smell of the meat still fresh on the nostrils, those sound good. I've heard that they have them at what we call the murder Walmart, the scary Walmart, because we have two Walmarts. Well, I think we have three, but we have two major Walmarts in Greenville. One is the neighborhood Walmart, which is safe. You can go there and get your food. You have limited selection, but that's it. And then we have the scary Walmart. And I call it the scary Walmart because literally there have been child abductions out of that store. And no joke, to get to that store, you have to turn on Hooker Road. I did not name this road, okay? You turn on Hooker Road to get to Walmart. That's just to give you an idea, the sort of area it is. You go right past Hooters, turn on Hooker, there's Walmart. It's a scary one. Most people won't go there unless they can park right near the store, just because somebody's going to accost you between your car and the store or on the way out. You sort of check the parking lot to make sure it's clear, and then you sprint to your car. You never get more than what you can carry in that store, because a whole cart worth, you'll be a vulnerable subject for that entire time you're trying to load the car. And either your food's going to get stolen, you're going to get stolen, or your car's going to get stolen. One of those three things are going to happen. And I know that's true because all over in the parking lot, everywhere, like almost as many things in the parking lot as there are cars, there are those big police towers with the blue lights and the cameras that look everywhere. And there are 100 of them. They're I don't know what they're trying to stop, because there are no cops in sight. They're scared of the place too. But they're watching everything, and I guess that's the deterrent. So, all right, it's time for court, guys. I've got some problems. Is that the one with the ECU pirate outside? Yes, it is. But there's criminals on the outside, on the inside, and they have a criminal statue. Pirates are criminals, right? We celebrate them here, but it's all good. Oh, birthday song. We're going to go to court in just a second. Everyone stand up, take a deep breath, shoulders back, project your voice to the back of the room. Warm up with me, if you will. La, 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 la. All right, we have some birthdays that I'm looking for frantically. Can you post the birthdays again? Oh, here it is. That was close. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Lucy 90, Riley, Hippie Chicken, Bill Hulsey. Happy birthday to you. That was close. That was so close. Oh, man. I have problems. I don't know how to solve them. Hoosie 90, Riley, Hippie Chick Q, Hippie Chicky Hugh, Hippie Chicky Hugh, Hippie Chick Hugh. I don't know how to say that. And Bill Hosey, happy birthday. I realize there are a million special days, a million wonderful places you could be, a million people who would celebrate with you, but this is your day, and you're celebrating here with us. The privilege and the pleasure is ours. Thank you so much. Happy birthday. Help yourself to free pancakes at Denny's, IHOP, Village Inn, Waffle House, McDonald's, Tammy Dunlap's house, Bob Evans, and Andy's Grill. There we go. Whew. I think you call this instant karma. You don't want to get busted cheating. You might be a criminal in hiding. I think I might be. Okay, we've got to go to court. We have to go to court. It's happening. 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Is that a nationwide
program?
program?
Ready to proceed, counsel?
Judge, the birthday song's still going.
All right, you may call your first witness.
The applicant calls Sean Castle.
All right, Mr. Castle, take your time. Come forward.
Sean Castle, take your time. We've got a whole other verse to go. Last verse. Sean, we're going to swear you in to the birthday song.
You swear the testimony you're about
First
to give
witness
is true and
ever
correct.
to have musical accompaniment for that.
Microphone is on, so you should be all set. You can adjust the chair if you need to. Whenever you're ready.
Good morning, Mr. Castle.
Morning.
Can you please state your name and spell your last for the record?
Drum solo.
Sean Castle. Kasal.
And Mr.
Drum solo.
Castle,
Here we
what
go.
is it that you do?
I am a digital forensics expert and a network security consultant. Network security consultant.
What
All
does
right.
that entail?
For the past 15 years, I have served as a consultant in the network security industry, specifically in the IT markets, helping dealerships build networks, telephone systems, and helping their network security posture, as well as serving as a digital forensics expert. I have spent a lot of time learning, teaching, and instructing civilians and law enforcement in the sciences behind digital forensics and network attribution.
You guys hear all right? We need it
Does
louder.
this include analysis interpretation of the digital evidence?
It does. The process of collecting, analyzing, and building threat reports as it pertains to evidence contained within digital devices.
So you have professional experience in digital evidence interpretation and investigation?
I do.
Can you tell me a little bit about the training you have in the area of digital forensics?
Yes. So, in the industry of digital forensics, there are several software titles that we utilize on a daily basis. They are annual subscriptions for the licensing on those titles.
Those are scams.
As a part of the renewal process, I purchased the training packages that accompany those titles from Cellbrite, Magnet Axiom, Oxygen Forensics, and Xero FTK. I also teach. I did my adjunct work at the University of Nebraska-Kearney under PhD Matt Miller, and I also am a returning guest lecturer and instructor at the Institute of World Politics in Washington, D.C., where I teach specifically in the area of network attribution and threat intelligence as it pertains to signals intelligence, social media intelligence, and open source intelligence.
So you instruct with the military?
I teach graduate students who are going to be employed by intelligence services such as CIA, NSA, and I also instruct law enforcement at the University of Nebraska-Kearney. I teach them means of correlation of data points and give them an understanding of how to build context within correlation of data.
I'm sorry.
Mr.
It's taking independent data points as it pertains to the evidence contained within devices, building timelines, and understanding how all of those data points come together to understand a full narrative of events or patterns.
Mr. Castle, have you provided any previous expert testimony?
I have. I have testified in state courts, federal courts, and military courts.
Have you ever been appointed as a special master?
I have. A couple instances of
Special
which
master.
I was appointed to a district court judge. The situation surrounding that was the Attorney General's Office of the state of Nebraska had received privileged information and pertains to communications between their client and the attorney. So my role was to be a custodian of the data and assist the judge in parsing out that privileged information so that the AG's office could have a comprehensive report of all of the other data contained within the device.
Have you ever been disqualified as a digital forensics expert in any court proceeding?
No.
It's a funny question. Have you ever been disqualified? Googling how to get smells out of garbage cans
Mr.
right now.
Castle, can you tell us what digital forensic evidence, what that term means?
The science of digital forensics is the ability to collect, maintain the integrity of, and analyze artifacts in digital devices such as mobile phones, tablets, computers, servers, and cloud data sources.
That's an AI answer. He did not write
Are there
that.
standard operating procedures for digital forensics?
Yes, there are industry standards as defined by organizations like the National Institute of Standards and Technologies, as well as the companies who build the digital forensics tools that we use have best practices and standards for the procedural aspects of collecting, maintaining the integrity of, and doing the analysis of the data that are contained.
Would this include the investigation and interpretation of the data?
Yes.
Do you follow these standards?
Yes.
Mr. Castle, were you retained by counsel for Todd Mullis?
I was.
And did you examine any electronic devices in this case?
I did.
Old lawyer.
How did you physically examine the data?
I was invited down to the Sheriff's Department in Delaware County to do my own independent collection of multiple devices on site there in September of 2022. And I also visited the Mullis family farm to collect some devices there as well. Specifically on the mobile devices, my assistant and I collected through multiple extraction processes those mobile devices to also include a network security recording device for cameras, which was located on the Mullis family farm, and also a satellite-based Dish Network TVR set-top box, and multiple laptops. I think there were 2.
What do you do first when you examine an electronic device?
Depends on the device. When it pertains to mobile devices, the first thing to do is to isolate that device from any connected network, placing it in airplane mode and making sure that Bluetooth and other similar network connectivity options are turned off, or by placing it in a Faraday cage or bag to make sure that it is unable to talk to any networks for fear of data corruption. At which point, we connect those devices to the laptop or machine that we were using to extract that data and process it for further analysis. With laptops, it requires pulling the hard drives out of the laptops, connecting them to a forensic write blocker, which inhibits the ability to modify, tamper, or corrupt the data contained on that laptop, and do an image of the hard drive for further processing later. That same process is also followed with the hard drive contained within the camera security network video recorder, and as well as the set-top box from Dish Network.
Can you explain what exactly you mean by extraction?
So it is the process of collecting the data contained on the hard drive or the memory within a mobile device or laptop. There are multiple extraction methods available to a digital forensics investigator. With mobile devices specifically, there is advanced logical, and physical methodologies available, both through Cellbrite and oxygen forensics. That process is similar in nature for both Android and Apple platform devices, and entails different methods of collecting that data within the device.
Switch the feed here just a tiny bit.
What software did you use for the phone and iPad? What software did you use for the phone and iPad extractions in this case?
Cellbrite UFED which is a Cellbrite Universal Forensic Extraction Device. I actually licensed the title Cellbrite UFED for PC, which allows me to install that on one of my laptops, making it a little bit more mobile or portable as a solution.
Can you explain the 3 types of extractions through Cellbrite?
Yes. The logical extraction process is a simple process of extracting the data as it exists on the file system of the hard drive contained within the mobile device. That is the same for both Android and iOS platforms. The advanced logical extraction process entails both a file system extraction and on the Android platform, an ADB or Android backup process. On the Apple Ecosphere platform, it would also entail an iTunes backup method. And the physical process of collecting the data is very similar to the process of a hard drive contained within a computer, and that it is a bit-by-bit copy of the data contained on the drive within the device. The physical methodology is the most comprehensive and the best method to use. However, depending upon the device, the software version running on the phone, and the software version of the software that I use to collect, it may not be available as a process.
We're 2 seconds behind.
After the extraction, did you do any analysis on the devices?
I did. I ingested the extracted information into Cellbrite Physical Analyzer, which is the software that Cellbrite produces for that process. And I also ran these devices through Magnet Axiom, which is another forensics title available to me, and a tool that is commonly utilized both by private sector and law enforcement. Using both tools gives a better and more comprehensive overview of the data, as both titles have specialties, meaning that those software companies have spent their resources and money on specific areas of analysis and have special or unique abilities within that software title. As an example, Cellbrite spends a lot of their research and development time finding ways to circumvent encryption processes utilized by cell phone companies, where Magnet Axiom has spent a lot of time developing ways and means to process the SQL-like databases and JSON files that make up the data constructed within a mobile device. So using both tools gives a very comprehensive overview of the data contained.
You mentioned some other electronic devices. Did you do extractions for those as well?
I did.
What software did you use?
For creating the disk image of the network video recorder for the camera security system and the Dish Network set-top box, I used FTK Imager to produce an EO1 format of the disk image. And for the analysis of the network video recorder for the camera security system, I used the same software title that the law enforcement used, which was DME DVR Forensics. It was the same title that the law enforcement in this matter used for their analysis.
Did you generate a report on your analysis?
I generated a couple of different reports. I will be specific at those. A general report of my findings overall was authored, and then I also created individual extraction reports of the data contained within the different devices that I had an opportunity to do analysis on.
I would like to show the witness what has been marked as Exhibit 272. Is it on your screen?
I do.
Do you recognize this?
This is a current copy of my Circulum Vitae, noting my professional experience, training, presentations I've done, and some of my work history, ma'am.
And you mentioned this is up to date, so there's no additions?
No, I believe this is the most current version.
And can you scroll down to page 4? And what is this, Mr. Castle?
This is the first page of the report that I authored of my findings overall for this matter.
Does the CV and general report, fairly and accurate represent your work and experience in this matter?
It does.
Your Honor, the applicant offers Exhibit 272.
Any objection?
Yes, Your Honor. Beyond what has been referenced, this exhibit also contains an affidavit. The report and affidavit are hearsay, and in addition to that, the report contains what this witness, essentially credibility findings of this witness speaking about other witnesses that have testified in this case. His credibility determinations and his opinions about the truthfulness of other witnesses is inadmissible, and the report should be excluded for that reason and because it is hearsay.
Would you like to respond?
Your Honor, this goes to what happened in the underlying trial as well as the evidence that was presented, and it is a full explanation of Mr. Castle's experience and his analysis of the data that he extracted and analyzed. It's about the weight and not the admissibility of the evidence.
272 will be admitted. However, the court will not consider
the weight and not
the
the
affidavit
admissibility?
portion of that exhibit or give any weight to any credibility determinations made of other individuals if they're referenced throughout the report. Certainly to the extent that counsel is utilizing the report
How can you have weight
in
if
any
it's not
questioning of the
admissible?
witness, I would ask that you avoid any of those portions, please. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Did you review any depositions or trial testimony in this case?
I did.
And who would that have been of?
The testimony and trial transcripts of former Deputy Travis Heneseth and the DCI agent, Mr. Trebet.
Your Honor, I see the witness is reading from the screen. Is he reading from the report?
He is, and I can put it up on the TV if that's helpful.
Like, yep, he is reading. Would you like to read from it as well?
Maybe.
Did you also review the testimony and deposition of Ward Crowley?
I did.
Nicole, you can take down the exhibit. Did you receive and review the extraction and digital discovery evidence from Mr. Mullis's criminal trial?
I did.
Mr. Castle, did you review the iPad that belonged to the Mullis family?
I did.
What browser was used on this iPad?
Safari.
Primarily the Safari web browser.
A genius.
On this particular device, did the Safari web browser default to Google searches?
The Safari web browser had the Google search engine as its default search engine.
Did you review Mr. Hemseth's testimony regarding the iPad?
I did.
And do you recall that his testimony about the search history on the iPad was falling off?
I do recall that portion of his testimony.
Was this correct?
No.
And why is that?
I'm going to object. This is going into credibility determinations. He can testify about his own findings and whether the court can determine if they are consistent with the underlying trial testimony.
May I be heard, Your Honor?
Go ahead.
This is not a credibility issue. This is about the actual issues and what was actually on the iPad and the evidence that should have been presented at Mr. Mullis's trial.
Yeah, I agree. Objections overruled. Do you remember the question, sir?
Could you restate it, please?
Yes. You were about to explain the search history of the iPad falling off.
Yes. Upon visual inspection of the device, there would be a list of most recent searches that a user had done on the device. But upon the extraction and analysis of the data contained within the iPad, it reveals a longer history or a more comprehensive understanding of all the searches that were conducted on the device.
Can you explain what it would mean for searches to be falling off?
Visual inspection of the device when tapping in the Google search area it would show the most recent searches conducted by a user of the device, and that would be a short list, just simply because the screen is only so long and it would only represent those most recent searches that were conducted. But that does not inhibit or restrict the memory of the device or the number of searches that were actually conducted on the device itself. That would be revealed upon the extraction and analysis of the data itself.
So the evidence would still, or the search history would still be available?
In two different locations, one on the device and also as a part of the subpoena offered to Google for the comprehensive search history.
Were you able to determine when the iPad was first activated?
I believe I recall that in August of 2017, the first user activity demonstrated on the device was a connectivity to a wireless network, representing the first viable activity recognized on the device in its activation time period.
Is there a way to determine how the iPad accesses the internet?
Yes, the Apple Ecosphere keeps a fairly comprehensive system log that demonstrates the network traffic that leaves or arrives on the device via its network interfaces. Those network interfaces being the WWAN interface, which would be the cellular radio on the device, or the Wi-Fi radio interface for standard Wi-Fi network connectivity.
Can you have a cellular data plan on an iPad?
There are a couple different models of iPad. One of those models does contain a radio that is capable of 3G, 4G, and now more modern 5G cellular data transmissions.
Are you aware if the Mullis family iPad had a cellular data plan?
It had a radio that was capable of cellular network traffic. The time frame in which it had a data plan attached to it was determined later.
Okay. I would like to show the witness what has been marked as Exhibit 256. Mr. Castle, based on your experience in this field, is this a document that you would normally see?
Yes.
And do you often see activation plans in your work?
As a part of network threat attribution, one has to correlate multiple data points, and one of those being subscriber data to gain an understanding of the traffic that may have arrived on a device, the IP addresses associated with that traffic, and the data plans connected to them. Yes.
Your Honor, the exhibit is being displayed. This was an issue yesterday as well, where exhibits are being displayed where they haven't been admitted. Thank you.
That was the judge's mistake.
Did you use this document to reach your opinion on whether the cellular data was activated?
It was one of the data points that I used, yes.
Counsel, and I guess I would just say, I mean, with regard to the displaying of the exhibits, again, this isn't a jury trial, and so it doesn't really matter to that end. Normally, we wouldn't want them displayed because a jury would be seeing them, but to the extent the court is the fact finder, that isn't a concern in terms of what's being seen. Obviously, we have spectators and the media viewing, so there is that, but it isn't those spectators or the media that will be the fact finder in this case. So just want to note that for the record.
And thank you, Your Honor. The one reason I point that out specifically is some of the exhibits that have been filed have unredacted personal information, social security numbers, minors' names. So if it's up before I have a chance to open the exhibit, it's difficult for me to determine.
Well, yeah, and the issue of redacting information is certainly different. There shouldn't have been anything filed with unredacted information. I think there's only been one exhibit that we've talked about that needed to be filed at a higher security level. So that is something that should be brought to my attention. So thank you for that. All right. Go ahead, Ms. Steenson. Sorry for the interruption.
That's okay. Thank you, Your Honor. Does this appear to be an activation plan from U.S. Cellular?
Yes.
Is the phone number the phone number listed, the one associated with the Mullis family iPad?
Yes, it correlates to the telephone number represented in the Cellbrite extraction report.
And what day was this plan activated?
I believe it was October 12th of 2018.
Your Honor, the applicant offers Exhibit 256.
Any objection?
Based on prior agreements with counsel that we will not require U.S. Cellular to come in and lay foundation, I have no objection.
256 is admitted.
Mr. Castle, do you know when when planting generally is?
Objection. This is the foundation.
When do farmers plant?
Sustained.
Before they harvest.
Were there email accounts connected to the iPad?
Yes.
Is there evidence on the iPad that links to Todd Mullis 76 Google account?
Yes.
Is there evidence on the iPad that links to Mullis RN Gmail account?
Yes, there's your objection.
I'm sorry.
I'll withdraw.
Okay.
That second part of the question?
Yes. Is there evidence on the iPad that links to the Mullis RN Google account?
Yes, there are artifact evidence of both accounts on the device.
And is there evidence on the iPad that links to the Amy Lynn 5810 Google account?
I did not find any artifacts or evidence of that account being linked.
Mr. Castle, you mentioned earlier that you reviewed the cell phones in this case. Did you analyze Todd Mullis's phone?
I did.
And what type of phone was this?
It was an LG older style flip phone.
During the course of your review of the digital forensic evidence, did you review Todd's U.S. Cellular records?
I did.
I would like to show the witness what has been previously marked as Exhibit 373. Can you tell me what this document is?
It appears to be a phone record of a device in a billing period noted. This appears to be the phone records for Todd Mullis's phone.
Are the last four digits of Todd's phone number 1114?
Yes, as represented in the document.
You might want to get that cough checked out. That doesn't sound good.
Are these the records that you received from the state?
Yes.
The applicant offers Exhibit 373.
Any objection?
Your Honor, the only objection I have, as was stated in our preliminary objections, is there is highlighting added by Mr. Mullis's counsel on the first page of the exhibit. But beyond that, in agreement consistent with our prior agreement about the U.S. Cellular, I have no other objection beyond that.
373
is admitted with the understanding that the highlighting, I guess, was not original to the document.
Yes, Your Honor, and I believe there has been another version filed without the highlighting in it.
Okay, thank you.
And you can take this down. During the course of review of the digital forensic evidence, did you review law enforcement's extraction of Todd's phone?
I did.
I would like to show what has been marked as Exhibit 353. What is this, Mr. Castle?
And this is a page that was a part of the extraction report of the phone, Todd's phone specifically.
And how is it that you recognize this?
First, it notates the extraction report and the model number of the device up at the top. And then it was also labeled Todd's phone. And as far as the data contained within the report, it represents some sent and received communications.
The applicant offers Exhibit 353.
Any objections to 353?
Minimally, Your Honor. There's some handwriting on it. If additional foundation can be laid, just the handwriting where it says Todd's phone, etc.
Is somebody backing up?
Ms. Stinson?
Did you guys hear that?
I believe that this. Yes. Did this?
New question coming in from counsel.
Did this come from defense counsel's file?
It did. This is not my handwriting specifically on the phone that as far as the notes on it. I recognize the report as a result of the model number of the device and the communications on it.
But this is what you received?
Yes.
There are trains that drive by the courthouse
Minus the
occasionally,
handwriting.
and we count them.
Does that address your objection, counsel?
I'm fine with it being admitted, Your Honor.
Right. Again, 353 will be admitted with the understanding that the handwriting, I guess, is not relevant necessarily to the exhibit.
Mr. Castle, did you analyze Mrs. Mullis's phone?
I did.
And what type of phone was that?
It was a smartphone with a larger screen, a more modern device.
Are the last four digits of the phone number 5675?
I believe so, yes.
Did this phone have access to the internet?
It did, which was in contrary to Mr. Mullis's phone, which the flip phone had internet capabilities, but there was no artifacts or evidence of any internet usage. Where on Ms. Mullis's phone, it did have a web browser that represented artifacts and evidence of web history to include social media.
Would this also included Facebook?
Yes.
So you indicated that there had been internet searches on the phone?
On Ms. Mullis's phone, yes.
Was there any email accounts connected to Mrs. Mullis's
There were
Mullis's
multiple
phone?
accounts.
Is there evidence on the phone that links to Mullis RN Google account?
Yes.
Mullis RN Google account?
That would be
Yes,
the
there
wife's.
Is there
Mullis,
evidence
who's a
on the
registered
phone
nurse,
that
right?
links to Amy Lynn 5810 Google account?
Yes.
Is there evidence on the phone that links to Todd Mullis 76 Google account?
Yes.
Was there a recovery number on the Todd Mullis 76 Google account?
There was.
Can we get foundation for what is a recovery number?
Just ask the question.
Just ask the question.
The objection is overruled. The answer will remain in the record. Go ahead, Ms. Stinson.
Thank you. Can you tell me what a recovery number is for a Google account?
When setting up a Google account, Google wants a phone number that can be utilized to recover the account in the event of a forgotten password or a security breach, so that they can validate the identity of the user, so that they can have some means of validation that the end user is who they say they are, have the ability to then get back into the account in the event of its lock or password forgotten scenarios.
So you would be able to reset a password for a Google account through a recovery phone number?
Yes, or offer it as a means of two-factor authentication.
So you mentioned that there was a recovery number linked to the Todd Mullis 76 Google account. Whose number was that?
It was the number associated with Ms. Mullis's phone.
Briefly on the Mullis RN Google account, did you review the search history from this Google account?
I reviewed the search history both on the device and as a part of the subpoena reply from Google.
Did you notice that the Google account included searches about cabins?
I did.
Over the course of your analysis in the forensic digital evidence of this case, did you review Mrs. Mullis's U.S. cellular phone records?
I did.
I would like to show the witness what has been previously marked as Exhibit 374. Mr. Castle, what is this?
This is a representative of some cellular communications and the telephone number associated with Ms. Mullis's phone.
And is this what you received from the state's discovery?
Yes.
I would like to admit Exhibit 374.
Any objection to 374?
No objection. Just, however, if we can clarify for the record that it's being received from the state through Mr. Mullis' counsel, but otherwise no objection.
374 is admitted with that clarification.
Mr. Castle, did you analyze Tristan Mullis's phone?
I did.
What type of phone was this?
It was also a smartphone with a larger screen or display and had internet capability and connectivity.
Were the last 4 digits of the phone number 1864?
I believe that to be correct, yes.
Were there internet searches on this phone?
There were multiple internet searches on the device.
And what types of searches were these?
There were searches for PC games, mobile device games, several multimedia searches, and searches for very specifically military sniper-style games.
And what other types of searches were there?
There was some, under the multimedia category, there were some searches for some adult-related content.
And what type of online games did you find?
World of Warships and other similar combat-style online games.
And when you say adult content, what is it that you mean?
Specifically pornography.
And were there searches for snipers?
Yes, it was one of the games that was searched for.
Did you create extraction reports of Amy and Todd's text messages?
Yes, I created an extraction report both from Todd's phone and from Ms. Mullis's phone as pertaining to the communications between those two parties.
I would like to show the witness what has been marked as Exhibit 307. Mr. Castle, what is this?
Hopefully not
This is an
pictures from
extraction
history.
report of specifically SMS communications between Todd and another party, I believe it Ms. Mullis's phone, or Ms. Mullis's messages.
And did you do this extraction report?
I believe so. The cover page is missing. That would give more detail, but from my recollection, yes, this is a report that I generated of the data extracted from the phones.
And besides the missing cover page, is this a fair and accurate representation of the data you extracted?
Yes.
I would like to admit Exhibit 307 into evidence.
Any objection?
Yes, Your Honor. I think more foundation needs to be laid about how this exhibit was created. It's been portrayed as communications and text messages between the two, but after, I believe, page 20 on my version of the exhibit that I was given, there's pictures, Facebook posts, all sorts of different things that I don't think were mentioned by the witness.
I think I heard the witness say they were SMS communications, so maybe we could have some further explanation, Ms. Steenson.
Spends the rest of his life in jail. That's his next recourse.
While you were analyzing Amy Mullis's phone, you had mentioned that she had Facebook on her phone. Did you analyze her Facebook account?
I did. And the reports that I generated of those devices may have contained more information than just the SMS or communications between the parties. It may have included other artifact evidence that was contained within the device for review by defense counsel.
Do you see these Yeah, can you tell, what page is this? Starting on page 19. Can you tell us what these are?
These would appear to be social media posts or the pages represented on their social media containing images and communications or posts on those media accounts.
And is this from Amy Mullis's Facebook account?
If she was slow so I can validate the... yes, this would be from the Facebook account for Ms. Mullis.
Is Exhibit 307 a fair and accurate representation of the SMS extraction you did and also the Facebook post from Amy Mullis's Facebook page?
Yes, this would be an extraction report of her device containing those items.
Your Honor, I would like to renew my request to admit Exhibit 307.
Any objection at this time?
Yes, Your Honor. May I briefly, while you're the witness,
you may.
clarify this? Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Castle.
Good morning, sir.
Up on your screen, do you have the Facebook messages there? Can you look at the bottom of one of those pages in the bottom right? Can you tell me what you see there?
Counsel, I think you probably have to identify a specific page,
Sure.
and then we'll have to have...
I'm looking at page 19. In the bottom right corner, it shows a page number. Do you see that? Once she gets there.
Yes.
And what does it say?
It has a page number of a total number of pages noted there at the bottom.
And I believe it states page 877 of 1,453. Is that what you see?
That is correct.
And this total document appears to be 46 pages, including the SMS messages. Is that accurate?
Yes.
So there is not 1,453 pages from Facebook in this document?
In this document, it would appear to be an excerpt or a extraction of specific pages within that more comprehensive report, yes.
And then if you can scroll just to, can you see the top of that page, the very top line on that, on page 19?
Which line specifically are you wanting me to look at?
So right by the e-filing stamp, is the top of that consistent with something that would be printed off Facebook, or is that something that would be consistent with coming from a Celebrite or similar type of extraction?
Can you scroll down just a little bit so I see the bottom of the page? This would appear to be part of a print of a Facebook page. This specific page, not part of the Celebrite extraction report.
Thank you. Your Honor, I would object on foundation, completeness, and relevance. These two mesh of documents are unrelated. I don't understand this exhibit.
Yeah, I guess, Counsel, do you want to respond to that? It's certainly the way that the exhibit is labeled, and I guess my understanding of what the witness did, it would appear that the first 18 pages make sense. I understand how those were obtained and where they came from. The remaining portion of the exhibit does seem to be cherry-picked pages from Facebook.
Rule of completeness. Admit all 1,100 pages.
Can you clarify that, please?
Just one moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
Let's admit all 1,100 pages. That'll tell a story. With 1,100 pages of Facebook posts, you should be able to pretty much piece together somebody's entire
Mr. Castle,
life.
You mentioned that you did an analysis on Mrs. Mullis's phone that included that she had a Facebook account. Is that right?
Correct.
And
are they just going on without answering the judge?
Is it possible to download information from Facebook?
It is.
And how would that work?
There are multiple ways to acquire that data. Primarily for the purposes of integrity, Facebook offers a process of a Facebook download in which they pull all the data from their multiple servers that contain account information, posts, messages, those types of things, and combine it within a single zip file that has a report of all that data the user may have posted or communicated via their social media. Secondarily, there are ways to scrape or pull individual posts and pages from Facebook from a computer. This is a couple of different processes that could have been utilized to acquire the information.
Is a portion of your report these Facebook extracts? Starting at page 19.
Objection, Your Honor. The witness has already testified that this is not from his extraction. These are prints from Facebook. And I'm going to add an objection under 403 that the exhibit in its current form is misleading because the page numbers continually jump around.
Prejudicial and probative.
This exhibit does contain a portion of the Solbar report that I created.
Okay, I apologize, sir. Yeah. I mean, I guess I heard the witness say that these appeared to be pages that were printed from Facebook. It certainly does appear to be incomplete if we look at the page numbers at the bottom. So we're really dancing around that issue. So the objection sustained for now.
Your Honor, I would like to offer pages 1 through 18 of what has been marked as Exhibit 307 into evidence, which represents the extraction of the SMS phone records.
Any objection to that portion of 307?
Yes, Your Honor, only because this gets back to my original objection with the exhibit, that I believe additional foundation for how because I believe the witness said this is coming from two different phones, so I believe additional foundation of how the messages were combined would be beneficial.
Okay. Ms. Steenson, would you like to lay some additional foundation specifically with regard to the, I guess, combining of the information from the two phones for purposes of creating the summary on the first 18 pages of 307?
Yes, of course, Your Honor. Thank you. Mr. Castle, can you explain how you created this extraction report?
If I'm allowed to look at the previous 18 pages, I can validate.
This is the guy that's going to tell us that it was somebody else who did the Google searches, right? That's the important part. He's got extractions, little tiny segments of an 1,100-page Facebook report that he's included to support his evidence. The state has objected, saying in the rule of completeness, you need all of this.
Okay.
Can't just pick and choose.
This Cellbrite extraction report here specifically is from Ms. Mullis's phone. And is not a compilation of multiple devices. The first 18 pages are just the extraction report of Ms. Mullis's phone and the communications between her and Todd.
I would like to remit or renew my request to admit Exhibit 307, pages 1 through 18.
Mr. Bakke?
No objection on that portion. Thank you.
The first 18 pages of 307 are admitted.
Mr. Castle, did you create an extraction report of Mrs. Mullis and Jerry Frazier's emails?
I created a report of the communications between those two parties, yes.
I would like to show the witness what has been marked as Exhibit 308. What is this, Mr. Castle?
It is an extraction report representing emails between the two accounts noted in the second column, Amy Lynn 510 at gmail.com and Jerry Frasher 70 at gmail.com.
What time period do these cover?
It appears to be November of 2018. Is there multiple pages to this document or just a single page?
It's a good book, too.
Mr. Castle, can you tell us how you created this extraction?
So for this report, I chose the email communications category within the Cellbrite application and extracted that data specifically into this baser document.
And is this the fair and accurate representation of the report that you created of the emails between Mrs. Mullis and Jerry Fraser?
As they existed on the device, specifically, yes.
I would like to request to admit Exhibit 308.
Yes, Your Honor. This was also raised in our preliminary objections. Many of these email communications, example beginning at page 3, states that the item was truncated due to length. I don't believe foundation has been laid as to that truncation of the emails. Additionally, it states that it contains body files. Those are hyperlinks that don't go to anything. So the messages appear to be incomplete.
Ms. Steenson, which
leaves the final portion of that communication off as a function of generating this report. The source data that the information was derived from is complete and in totality. This report just simply pulls the rest of the data out of it. This is more a representation of that the communications between these two parties happened, and this is a overview or summary of the initial communication between the two parties.
That was weird. It didn't freeze on my end.
Your Honor, I would like to renew my request to admit Exhibit 308.
counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. I do object. I'm going to object on 403 that in its current form, the emails, the truncated version of the emails are misleading, especially with the full content not being available for consideration. Thank you.
May I be heard, Your Honor?
You may.
The state has all of this data. This is just for, this goes to the weight, not the admissibility. We are asking for, this is just an example of it reflects what was sent between, but the state has all the underlying data, and if they want to cross Mr. Castle on this, they are willing to.
Counsel, do you agree that you have all of the underlying data that was used to create this report?
Yes, Your Honor. It's likely in the terabyte of information, or approximately terabyte of information that I've received. I don't believe it's a discovery issue. It's that the fact finder here is only getting partial. So I think if there's any specific email that needs to be referenced, it would be more appropriate for that full email to be admitted, not truncated partial summaries.
Certainly. I do think it goes to the weight to be given this particular exhibit, if any. 308 will be admitted.
Judges started to side more for
Mr. Castle, can you tell me what UTC is?
It's coordinated
side.
universal time code. It is a universal accepted standard for establishing a uniform way of maintaining a timestamp globally.
Is this standard in digital forensics?
It is standard in network communications as well as digital forensics, a way of establishing a baseline timekeeping methodology.
What time zone is Iowa?
Iowa is in the Central Standard Time Zone, or CDT, Central Daylight Savings Time Zone, depending upon the time of year that it is.
No one knows which one it is.
UTC time in Central Standard Time?
It is minus 6 hours from the UTC time code.
And does UTC time change with daylight savings?
UTC remains unchanged. However, the offset for Central Standard Time is adjusted by the hour.
When it is midnight in UTC, what time is it in Iowa?
Non-daylight savings time, it would be 6 p.m.
Is it typical for extractions to be in UTC time?
That's how the data contained within a mobile device is represented, is in UTC time code stamping. It is an option within the software titles to make that calculation or adjustment for Central Time or Daylight Savings Time accordingly.
So there has to be a conversion from whatever uniform standard time is used?
Correct.
And the reviewer would have to convert to Central Standard Time or Iowa time or the relevant time zone?
The machine will automatically adjust those time code stamps accordingly, making it less prone to mistake or calculation by the end user or the analyst.
Did you review Mr. Hemeseth's testimony regarding UTC?
I did.
Was he correct that UTC is military time?
No.
Was he correct that UTC is Central Standard Time?
Central Standard Time is a time zone based on an offset of UTC. So no, that would not appear to be correct.
So the times and dates that Mr. Hemeseth testified to would be wrong? Unless the offset was checked against the time code within the report, it would appear to be incorrect.
We already knew
Mr.
that.
Castle, did you review the Dish Network DVR system?
I did.
And did you do an extraction of this electronic device?
I did.
And this is the system from the Mullis home?
It is. The satellite TV set-top box was the device I retrieved and created a disk image of to do analysis on. I extracted specifically some log files from that device to do analysis on.
Based on your extraction, could you determine what programs were watched and stored on the system?
There are 2 log files specifically that will help an analyst understand both the listings that were available to be watched on the device and also the shows or movies that were recorded and or watched by the end users.
Can you give me some examples?
Yeah, there were a number of Arnold Schwarzenegger titles that were viewed, recorded, and watched by the end users, and a number of History Channel shows to include Ancient Aliens, some presidential history documentaries, and a number of military-style historical documentaries.
Can you provide an example of some of the shows?
Objection.
Counsel, would you like to narrow your question?
Yes, Your Honor. Was there evidence of Sniper Into the Kill Zone show from the Discovery Channel on the DVR system?
Objection leading.
Sustained.
The judge hates her job.
Can you give an
right
example of a Discovery Channel show that you saw on the DVR system?
Objection, relevance, and foundation.
Overruled.
I believe that there were a couple of log files extracted from the device that would represent the shows that were watched and recorded on the device. And if I could reference those log files, I would be able to better assist you in knowing all of those shows.
I would like to show the witness what has been previously marked as Exhibit 369. Can you tell me what this is?
This is a catalog.back file from the satellite set-top box, which is a file that could be used to determine what shows the user watched, recorded, or viewed on the device. It is a list of those shows and programming.
And can you go to page 15, please? And can you tell me what this is?
The daily schedule log is a log file that represents the guide. When you hit the guide button on the remote, this would show you the shows that are available to be watched or recorded on the device.
And how is it that you recognize these files?
They're documented on the Dish Network website as to gaining the understanding of what those files represent.
Is this an accurate representation of the information you extracted from the Dish DVR device?
It is.
And just for the record, to be clear, this would be a portion of the extraction you did on the DVR system?
Yes, it is very specifically 2 files contained within the hard drive of that device.
So if there is a show or something listed on the log file, what does that represent? What does that tell us?
It was a show that was available to be viewed on the device as far as programming that was available at that time. And a good way to correlate it would be to compare it to another document that would be representative of the shows available to be watched, such as a TV guide or a newspaper listing of TV shows available.
And I would like to request to admit Exhibit 369 into evidence.
Any objection?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm going to object on relevance and foundation. The witness has already testified that this is only a portion of the extraction. Additionally, this file is comprised of, I'll say, computer language instead of gobbledygook. So I don't see the relevance.
It's all ones and zeros to me, Judge.
Your Honor, may I be heard?
You may.
Your Honor, the state has underlying data for this extraction. This is just a portion of the extraction is quite large, and it goes to weight and not admissibility. This will go into explaining later on the digital, correlating with the digital evidence that was presented at Mr. Mullis's criminal trial.
Do I understand correctly that this is just a listing of shows that were available through Dish to be watched? I mean, not necessarily shows that were watched, correct?
There's 2 files here, and one of them is, as you say, it's a list of files that could be watched. Yes. The first portion of this report were the shows that were actually watched or recorded by the device.
And how do I tell that by looking at this exhibit?
So at the top of the page of this particular exhibit that we have open, where it says daily log, that is the file, the shows that could be watched, like the guide part of it. The first part of this file, which was
Can you go to page 1?
The .back file, which comprises of pages 1 through the catalog.back up at the top right there that you see indicates the shows that were recorded or watched, and that comprises of pages 1 through
Your Honor, while he's looking, I'm going to add an objection on calls for speculation because I don't see anything in this that indicates when or if these were actually watched.
Well, I mean, that's my next question, is the date. I don't remember that there was a specific date provided.
There's the end of the back file right there. So everything preceding that daily log file portion of this report were shows that were watched or recorded. To correlate the date of the actual viewing of those shows, the TV guide listing for the time period of these shows in question would represent those timestamps.
We're using TV guide now as evidence.
Okay, well, the next problem we have is I'm looking at what is page 14 of this exhibit of the document that was uploaded, which does not appear to be the same page 14 of what I'm seeing maybe on the screen. So let's go ahead and take our morning break at this time and see if we
sort out
can
page 14,
try to sort
y'all.
this out. We'll plan on coming back at about 10:25. Thank you.
Yeah, step down.
So as they go to a little break here, if we had any real mic drop moments, we're still sort of getting to the juicy bits, right? We're just now looking at some of the info, and all we've had is basically they've gone over what we already knew, which was the last tech guy that testified in the last trial, or was it the sheriff? I forget. He got UTC wrong. He thought UTC meant central. He thought the C was central on the time zones, and it's not. And so it would have meant that it's about a 6-hour shift in when something happened as to when they thought it happened. So it made the searches happen in the middle of the night, which is, I guess more incriminating. So that's as far as we've gotten. The state is fighting this tooth and nail. Okay, the judge is frustrated. The judge is frustrated with both sides, honestly, not just the state. The state in this case is the defendant. The appellant, the person who's filed this motion, or I guess you can't just call it an appellant. It's the plaintiff in this one, right? They have the burden of proof. So Todd Mullis and his team have the burden of proof to prove that something was done wrong during the trial. So wrong by his attorneys that that had it been done right, it would have changed the outcome of the trial. If they can convince the judge that that is the case, the judge can do a number of things. She can reduce the sentence. She can order a new trial. She can free him completely. Or most likely, if she's not convinced, he will just go back to jail. That's where we're at. So I will say there's a lot of people locally that that believe that this was done wrong and that the justice wasn't done here. This was an accident, and I've given it some thought. Sorry, you can see my game right there. I've given it some thought, and why did the rake handle have to be downward? Okay, I looked back. Maybe I should go back and pull them up. The pictures of the diagrams that show where the tines went into her body and the angle they went in. We're not talking like just right underneath the surface going up and then way down like this. The tines sort of like had a slight downward and a slight upward. Couldn't both be achieved based on how her body hit it? Without the tines being flipped around. So the pole could have been up the whole time, is what I'm saying. The pole could have been up all the time. Cruiser yeah, we've got a burner phone for that reason. If you want to call in during the break, we just ask that you use regular, just polite language and share opinions nicely, and we can all be friends at the end. So. The handle was upward. I'm okay with that, but I'm just saying that is it not possible the handle could have been upward both times? Because the way the diagram showed the impact, I mean, we don't know exactly how her back was contorted or flexed when the impact occurred. And I'm not saying she fell on it or that she was struck. I'm just saying we don't know what position she was in when that happened, and that would have a huge impact. If she was head down and head hit first, and her butt was higher up in the air, that would be different than if she landed on her butt first and rolled back on it.
Call from
Mason.
Hey Mason, this is RA. How are you doing?
How you doing? This is I was just in your chat. This is Cuz I Farm. I'm local here to Todd.
Awesome. Mason, good to have you on.
So,
I love the John Deere on your profile pic, by the way.
Thank you. I kind of did, well, for a little bit, I did some farming videos there on YouTube, and I just kind of, it's so busy. I didn't have the time for it to farm all day and then get home and edit for 8 hours. It's just way too time consuming. So I got away from it.
It's amazing the work that farmers do, and throwing a YouTube channel on top of that's crazy. You'd have to do farming simulator instead. But
right.
Tell me what's on your mind.
So well, here's the thing. A lot of us around here highly believe it was an accident, and let alone that Todd was railroaded. But a lot of people, like, how do I explain it? Most of your people in courtrooms are city folks, right? So they don't understand how farms operate and what can happen all the time. Anything and everything can cause an accident or injury or death on a farm. Mm-hmm. And I strongly believe it was an accident. And there's a big part of evidence, in my opinion, that they kept out in the first trial is her jacket only had the 4 holes through her jacket, correct?
The expert said 4 holes. The police officer, the sheriff now, sent pictures saying there are 5. He re-looked at the evidence himself and found a 5th hole, I think, or something like that. But still, 6 holes in her body, 4 or 5 holes in the jacket.
Right. But still, if they say that she pulled it out, or say that Todd, I guess, pulled it out and then stabbed her again, how do you perfectly line up those holes again and stab her again? That's physically impossible, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think they accounted for that by saying that all 4 tines were not in her body every time. In one case, only 2 tines were stuck in her. I think only 2 tines were stuck in her body when she was found. But still, more holes in her body than the coat would mean that either the tines stayed punctured through the coat and then punctured her body twice without being removed from the coat fully, or that the tines once went through the coat and her body, and then it was pulled out, and then her. I love the ASMR.
Sorry, 1 second.
That is awesome.
Yeah, there should be 8 of them on here for market. Yep.
Yeah.
Schombacher Acres.
Yes.
Yep.
I love the cows in the background.
Sorry
that
about
awesome.
that.
No, it's great.
Here at the
You're working.
Dropping cows off at the sale barn. Yeah, I like to listen to trials at the same time I'm working. I just plug in my earbuds and go.
So what I was saying, Mason, is the other option is that she is stabbed once with the coat off, then the rake's pulled out, then the coat's put in place, and then stabbed again. So that's the only way I can put it together, and it doesn't seem very likely for that to have occurred. It's like in that moment she's like, "Here, let me get my coat on." Is that
right?
It doesn't make sense.
Right. I don't know how to explain it, man. It's just a farming community is way different than most people think it is, and we all strongly believe he was railroaded, and the people that do know him are. Even the people that don't know him are in strong belief that he is innocent. We hope here that he gets a new trial here. Yeah. With his last attorneys and the state, I guess, misrepresenting evidence in the first trial and all that stuff. And I mean, look, it's hard to get. It's almost most of the time people would say it's almost impossible to get a second trial, right? Yeah, it's very, very rare.
It's
so
tough.
It's very tough, and I don't know, man. We just all hope he gets another chance and to prove his innocence. And if you go look in the courtroom, I mean, it's nothing but supporters there. So yeah, it's I don't know. I mean,
well, I hear it, and I would rather. I've said this a million times. We know the saying. We'd rather have a guilty man go free than an innocent man get locked up, right? Or 100 guilty men go free than an innocent man locked up, even. If there's that possibility. If there is another reasonable explanation that still exists after you weigh all the evidence, I'd say, yeah, the attorneys messed up in not presenting that option to the jury. And then I'd say, yes, get a new trial. It might not change the outcome, but I'd feel better with it. If at least
right,
the jury
right. It
could
might not
weigh
change it. If it doesn't change the outcome, then it is what it is, right? There's nothing we can do. But if they find out that his lawyers didn't present it how it should have been presented, and you still have the same outcome, at least there was that opportunity, and we can at least have a little piece of like, okay, he wasn't completely screwed over, right?
Yeah.
So
I agree.
I mean, and I'm a big believer of innocent until proven guilty, right?
Yes.
But as I've seen, well, Karen Reed case, for example, I mean, it's just that case, and there was another case in Massachusetts with some guy broke into his house. I don't know if you heard about it. In Massachusetts, close to the same county that Karen Reed is getting tried in. Some young boy and his wife and kids were in a house, and her ex-boyfriend came in the house and beat the crap out of him. Excuse me.
That was close.
He pulled sorry. And he pulled out a gun, and well, the guy that shot him, he ended up breaking his arm and stuff. Anyways, he shot him in the head, and they tried him for killing the man. Thank God he was found not guilty. But it's just this miscarriage of justice is unreal, and
that's the fact. It can occur. Just because it's happening in court and people wear badges and have gavels and black robes does not mean they're infallible, and mistakes happen. So that's why
they think they are. I believe, and I support cops, and I appreciate what cops do and stuff. But there's also a part of me that I think they're above the law. And they're not.
I hear you, Mason. And I've got to ask before we wrap this up, so I'm not sure how much longer we have.
Yeah.
How did you find the channel?
To be honest, I found you maybe like a week ago, and I was just on YouTube, and I think you just came up and I recommended I just kind of watched trials, and I think I was on another. I listen to trials as I'm working, whatever, because I'm into the true crime and stuff like that. So I think a court was on break, and I was just on YouTube, and you're on my main page, and I seen you were there. I think it was on maybe it was less than a week ago. It was on that. It's kind of funny, the one with the trial where the lady is accusing her landowner or whatever. She rents that house from him or whatever with the bugs and stuff.
Yes. Okay.
That's the one I found you on. I was like, oh, this is hilarious.
That's
so I
awesome.
followed you. I want to wait for the next hearing because I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to follow. And then I listened to yours. I think it was yesterday with the old ladies fighting and stuff. That was kind of funny, too.
There's some funny ones happening. Well, that's awesome. Man. Mason, I think everyone's standing up in court. Well, not everybody. I'm just looking here. I thought.
Well, hey, no worries. I give other people opportunities to call, and I just, hey, my opinion might not be right, but we're all have our own opinions, right? So,
I appreciate the way you shared it, and especially having a local, boots on the ground and knowing the sort of attitude locally in the area. You realize that when you have a trial, you get tried by a jury of your peers for a reason. It's because the people that are around you may think differently than the people that are around me. Love that part of the system. They may have got it wrong at this point, but I wouldn't blame the jury. Especially if, in this case, they weren't given the option that they should have heard.
Exactly.
So, Mason, thank you. Hope your farm day goes accident free, and congrats on the 8 cows. Was that a purchase or a sale? I don't know what was happening there.
Sale. We just took them to the sale barn as they got to keep the coal cows. I don't know if you know what a coal cow is, but essentially older cows that we get rid of that they don't get pregnant or reproduce and stuff like that. So. Essentially, we just take them to the sale barn for market, which goes into beef,
so
right?
They go over the Rainbow Bridge and live happily ever after in a green field, right?
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
So you can't make money if you've got bad cows in your herd that don't reproduce and create profit, right? So every so often we get rid of a load. So
well, I'll fire up the barbecue now that we know some fresh meats on the way. So Mason, thank you. It's great to talk to you. Call again sometime. We'd love it.
All right. Thanks again. You guys have a fantastic day.
You too. Yeah. Bye. He's awesome, man. Love farmers. Pauline says, coming out of lurk mode to celebrate the best 22 months with friends. Thank you, Pauline. Congratulations. You're just 2 months away from a new color of courthouse. I like to think I'm a John Deere guy, but I only have a riding lawnmower. Which fun fact, you guys know this because you watched me try to fix it. John Deere does not consider John Deere riding lawnmowers John Deere tractors. It's not a tractor. Like the guy yesterday was saying, you can't just call a skid steer a small tractor. It's different. John Deere. If you take your riding lawnmower, John Deere riding lawnmower to a John Deere dealer, they're like, yeah, we don't work on those. You might want to call like Lowe's or Home Depot or maybe some small engine repair shop. That's not us. So, although I feel like a farmer, the king of the world, sitting on my riding lawnmower, it's definitely not. It's definitely not in the same category.
Call from Bree. I'll be quick.
Bree,
Google Voice switch phone.
I'll make it super quick because I know the judge might be coming back.
Okay.
Santa Fe might be at it again. We might be back here hanging out because there might be some names dropped and there might be a mansion by my house. And
are you inviting me to come stay?
No. We don't want to go there.
Oh.
That's where the bad list came from.
Okay. The name, the big name dropped today.
That might be coming up, but that's 10 minutes from my house, and the South Road Gene Hackman, he is 15 minutes from my house. So Santa Fe's at it all over again. So
you guys just can't stay out of the news, can you?
I know. They just want to bring it to me so I can bring it to you. That's what it is.
Well, if it happens, I know you're going to connect us. So thank you very much, Bree.
But yeah, we're hearing maybe carbon monoxide out here, but we don't know for sure yet. So it's just a sad day. But it was I just laughed because every time I went to bed, I was like, oh, well, here we go in Santa Fe. Then I wake up and I'm like, here's Santa Fe. I'm like, here we go. We're just ready for it. I just want to come say hi to everybody and you.
How do you start your morning? You've got a lot of energy. I'm not saying you drank like a lot of cups of morning juice. I'm just saying you're really peppy because Santa Fe's out west, and it's still early.
It's 9:30 here. I've been up since 6:30.
Okay.
So it's already 9:30. So I've had a few hours to get ready.
All right. Okay. So I'll give you a pass there. You have more energy at 9:30 than I ever have, I think.
It happens, but well, awesome. So yeah, I just figured y'all we need a fun little laugh because this one's been spicy. I missed part of it, so I have to get caught up on why the TV show or whatever was watched was important because I'm like, look, if that's involved in a trial, I'm in trouble.
It's like, hang on, you're going to delve into my Netflix and chill time in court? This should be like a safe zone, right?
If they saw what's on my DVR between like the first 48 and crime shows, they're going to be like, yep, she did it. She's been practicing and figuring out how to do it.
It's basically like a how-to, step-by-step how-to in crime, right? Awesome.
Anyway,
Bree,
I just want to call say hi to everybody.
All right.
Awesome, guys. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
We'll see you. Bye. I love her energy. All right. Where are we at? We're waiting to go back to court here. I think it looks like all the key players are back, so we're just waiting on the judge, and we'll be back here in a second. Yeah, we managed to get all the way through that call without saying, the words. That's we talked around the subject without ever saying it. It's all over social media. Supposedly there's a big list of names that you don't want to be on, and that list was supposed to be dropped today. So anyway, it's a naughty list. All right. Carbon monoxide. That is sad. I did see his passing, Gene Hackman and his wife. Had a couple celebrity passings just in the past couple days. It wasn't what's the girl? Like Buffy the Vampire Slayer girl? Didn't she just pass as well? I was like, I'm so confused. It's okay. You don't want to know about that list. It's terrible. And plus it gets way too close to politics for us. So it's a list of people who hung out with a very bad guy. Okay, we're back. Saved by the judge. Here we go.
Thank you. Please be seated. Go ahead and have a seat.
Welcome back, Judge. We figured out page 14.
Mr. Castle, I'll just remind you that you remain under oath. And Ms. Steedson, I think we'll pick up maybe with some foundation questions with regard to Exhibit 369.
Yes, thank you.
All right, you may proceed when you're ready.
Mr. Castle, in pages 1 through 14 of this document, you mentioned that this is the catalog.back files. Can you, are these the, is it your testimony today that these are the
spit out.
The shows that were recorded and watched on the DVR system?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
The judge is tired of these objections.
This file represents content that was viewed, recorded, or watched even in part by the end users on this device.
Are you able to determine the timing that these shows were recorded and or watched?
With this document alone, no.
How can you determine that?
Using correlation and aligning it with the TV guide schedule at the time.
And is this something that you typically do in your line of work?
Yes, using multiple data sources to gain an understanding of context and timeframes is important to understanding the scope of the whole thing. Yes.
Do you hear that? It's to be quiet for us. It's a train.
Mr. Castle, do you know what dates your extraction data covered?
Based on this document, it does not show the specific date range. I happen to know from the TV guide stuff what it may have covered, but this document does not show that.
I should have asked Mason about the trains and their schedule and if we should expect more than one a day.
When you extracted from this DVR, did you extract all the data from the DVR system?
Yes, it was a comprehensive collection of all the data represented on the hard drive, and these log files represent that.
One of my first live streams ever.
Do you recall what date you collected this data?
On TikTok.
Without referencing the forensic image I created of the hard drive, the forensic image of the hard drive I created, I would have a hard time recalling that.
What year would you have done this?
2022.
And so the data included on the DVR system would be from whenever the service plan would have started to when you extracted the data?
I do not know what the log file's start date is. I just know when I collected the data. I don't know when the family chose to decommission or stop using this particular set-top box.
It was on Periscope, not TikTok. It was purchased by Twitter. Twitter shut it down. Oh, it's a membership train now. Look, it's changed. We heard the train.
We'll
Iris
come
gifted
back to
membership.
This issue.
Carol gifted 5 memberships. Thank you. Thank you. Choo choo.
Did the state do an extraction on the dish DVR system?
I don't believe so. I believe they only received what the forensic image of the hard drive contained and data from me and reciprocal discovery.
One moment, Your Honor.
Just had to check the date. It's February 27th, which means tonight's podcast we won't give memberships out, but next one we will. Ricky C. gifted 5 memberships. Bug Dugger gifted a membership. Andrew C. just gifted 5 memberships as well. Thank you for your generosity. Oh my goodness. Whoa. And Choco Choco, which is like Choo Choo, was gifted a membership. Queen Olive Ruth Ann gifted a membership as well. Thank you, Queen
Mr. Castle, during
Olive.
your analysis of the Dish DVR system, did you look for History Channel TV guides?
Your Honor, I'm going to object at this time under
Relevance.
as relevance in 403 that this is a waste of time because, for example, this document from the DVR says the Andy Griffith Show. If this witness is truly going to say that he can identify which specific iteration of the Andy Griffith Show was watched or recorded or whatever show it is, that there was no reruns at any point other than what could conveniently line up with their theory of the case, this is speculative and this isn't worth the court's time in the state's opinion.
Well, counsel, did you wish to respond?
Yes, Your Honor. This is providing contextual information about what was going on in the Mullis home and also provides corroborating evidence regarding the Google searches that were presented at Mr. Mullis's trial. The state at trial presented these searches without any corroborating forensic digital evidence, and we are now able to do so. Which relates to the ineffective assistance of counsel claims in this instant PCR.
DSN, thank you for gifting 5
as
memberships,
it stands,
and congrats
I
on
don't
2 years.
have any information about the dates that would correlate to this information, so I'm having a really hard time connecting it to anything that could be considered relevant, at least without that information. So, again, if there's some further foundation that you can lay to tie that in some way, you certainly may do so.
One moment, Your Honor.
She's confused. She's like, fill in the blank for me. Someone is typing in a very angry manner. I think that's actually keyboard abuse, which should be a crime. Kitty-bug, thank you very much. Love it, good.
I think you should go to the Google searches. Start doing information. Let's go.
Your Honor, I will just move on for the moment.
Go ahead.
So sustained? We're not getting rulings, and we're not answering the questions or the objections.
Mr. Castle, based on your knowledge and experience, have you done examination in internet browser-based searches?
Yes.
What is the difference between a browser and a search engine?
A search engine is a program that is built by a content provider that will index and catalog web pages and the data contained on those web pages on the internet. A web browser is a program that is used to view the web pages on the internet specifically.
What would be an example of a search engine?
Google, Yahoo, Bing, web crawler, Excite are all web-based search engines.
What is the example of a browser?
A browser would be Google Chrome, Chromium, Mozilla Firefox, Apple's Safari, or formerly Microsoft's Internet Explorer.
Which is now Edge.
Let's talk specifically about Google. If you were signed into a Google account on a certain browser, does Google track your searches?
It is an option that the user can elect for Google to maintain a comprehensive list of the searches that were conducted in that browser session, and is not necessarily device specific.
And is this typical?
It is.
Can you explain the difference between a device and an account?
A device is a physical piece of compute hardware, such as a tablet or phone or laptop. An account would be the user profile of the individual signing into that device. There can be multiple devices. There can be multiple accounts tied to devices, and synchronization options chosen therein.
Renee,
what happens if a Google account is logged in on multiple devices?
5 months.
There will be evidence artifacts of searches across multiple devices represented in the data that Google catalogs. And in the subpoena reply from Google, it will reflect multiple searches conducted on those devices.
Could two people be searching on two different devices on the same Google account?
Yes.
Would this all be saved in the search history for the account?
Yes.
So Google search history is not device specific?
Objection leading.
It can be device specific, but it also can be tied to the user account tied to
There was
the device
objection
as well.
leading. Judge did nothing.
And the objection's overruled. The answer will remain in the record.
Nosy Rosie,
So if I
you want
understand
headphones
you
like
correctly,
this?
just because it is on a Google search history doesn't mean a certain device searched it?
I'm asking you to be a little bit more specific.
So if I had this phone signed into my Google account, and Tara's iPad was signed into my Google account, and I searched on my phone, could the search appear on Tara's iPad?
Yes, based on user synchronization options, absolutely.
Here's
Can you
links to
explain the
ones I
difference
use.
between a search and web history?
It is an affiliate link.
A search is an end user typing a query of word or phrase into the search engine, asking for results. A web history artifact or evidence would be the visiting of a web page or the following of a link from those search results.
Did you review Mr. Hemesas's testimony regarding Todd Mullis' 76 Google account?
I did.
Do you recall him saying that there was no evidence of Todd Mullis' 76 Google account on Mrs. Mullis' cell phone?
I recall that.
Was that accurate?
No.
Were there indicators that Todd Mullis' 76 Google account was tied to or connected to multiple devices?
Yes.
And which devices were those?
The iPad and Ms. Mullis' phone.
Did you review the Google searches obtained from Todd Mullis' 76 Google account that were obtained by the state in the underlying trial?
I did.
Mr. Castle, are you aware that Todd's children took a hunter safety course?
I am.
Objection foundation.
Overruled. The answer will remain in the record.
She's just overruling all the objections now. She's like, just move it along, please. Who cares about admissibility? Just go faster.
I would like to show the witness what has been previously marked as Exhibit 306. And just for ease of reference, this has been made into a demonstrative exhibit M that has been provided to the state. This is M, sorry. Mr. Castle, what is this?
It is a media document containing information regarding hunter safety.
Did you review this over the course of your investigation into the Google searches?
It was one of the documents used as correlation to understand the searches that were conducted across multiple devices.
And are you familiar with this handbook and how it relates to the Google searches found on Todd Mullis' 76 Google account?
I'm going to object that on relevance, foundation, and speculation, there's been no foundation that this document specifically was used or read by anyone or when, and where this line of questioning is going is the exact same as the DVR.
Would you like to respond, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. This document will show that the Google searches are exactly verbatim for what this hunter safety course purports in their and with the internet searches. and the trial counsel could have found this document and should have known that Todd's children had taken the hunter safety course and would have had access to this information.
Okay, and maybe that's true, but again, as far as foundation for how this witness would know how anything about this would correlate with what he did is maybe unclear at this point. So if you'd like to lay some additional foundation, you can certainly do that.
Mr. Castle, did you review Exhibit 306?
This document?
This document, yes.
I did. During the course of the investigation into the Google searches that were conducted across multiple devices, I noted a pattern that was curious in regards to they all seem to be related to outdoor shooting activities and firearm safety. Upon further research, I discovered that there was the pattern lined up with maybe an open book test or some type of exam as it regards to the hunter safety course.
Googling sniper videos for hunter safety? What?
And did you review the trial testimony of Mr. Hemesath regarding this series of searches?
There seemed to be some question as to the specificity of the searches being of a violent nature, and to gain a better understanding of the pattern there, I wanted to see what came about. It revealed itself to be a series of searches regarding firearm safety and very specifically...
I'm going to object, Your Honor. This is speculation and foundation once again. This witness has not established that any particular person in the Mullis family or anywhere else has actually reviewed this document, and it's speculative.
Well, I guess I'm not sure how the witness got this information or what his investigation revealed or where he got this particular guide from. The witness can continue his answer.
Overruled.
Sean, of course, the investigation, when I noticed that the searches conducted on multiple devices, the laptop, the phone, and the tablet, reflected a pattern of firearm safety, specifically, and hunting. There was a timeline that emerged that demonstrated an evening of study in regards to firearm safety and hunter safety.
Your Honor, I would like to also note for the record that the state previously indicated that they would not be objecting to foundation or authentication or identification of this particular document.
And while that is true in our preliminary objections, the court did subsequently grant good cause to the state to be excused from the foundational requirements pre-trial. And however that may be, we don't object to the foundation in that we don't need someone to come in and authenticate this document comes from whatever magazine it's from. That doesn't mean this witness has not laid the foundation for how he is aware of this exhibit or how it pertains to this case.
That is foundation.
May I ask the witness a few follow-up questions?
You certainly may. I think he had finished his previous answer.
Thank you, Your Honor. Is this document the official study guide for the Iowa DNR hunter safety course?
Objection, foundation, leading, speculation.
Foundation.
Sustained.
Oh. The judge has said this several times. We should probably count how many times she said this is not a jury trial. This is a bench trial.
I would like to enter Exhibit 306 into evidence.
Mr. Bakke?
Again, we do not object to the foundation that this is, in fact, a magazine. I would object on relevance to this case as no relevance has been laid.
And again, on the relevance point, I still don't have any information necessarily about specific time frames. Where this came from, I agree. I'm not seeing the relevance yet. It just hasn't been demonstrated by the evidence. If you'd like to continue to lay some foundation, you certainly can. It will not be admitted at this time.
Just one moment, Your Honor.
The judge has hinted at what she needs. She's told them, I need those bookend pieces. Let me know what I'm looking at, why I'm looking at it, and when it happened. Get that part in, and then we'll talk. She's being very fair. Especially she's not required to tell them why she doesn't allow it in. But she's given them 2 or 3 chances here. Do you think it's a possibility that inexperience on the lawyer who's doing the questioning's part, or maybe just an assumption was made that because foundation was not going to be objected to by the state, that they wouldn't have to do this? It was a mistake.
The court may not have reviewed this yet, and I completely understand. There's a lot of documents, but there is in the record for this PCR case, in the deposition of TPEM, it does indicate that hunter safety courses were taken and completed. It includes certificates that proves that TPEM and Tristan took these courses and were certified. Additionally, this is the hunter safety course. It is not a magazine. It is this the study guide for this hunter safety course that the DNR utilizes. And TPEM's deposition has been admitted into evidence.
And I understand that, and I have reviewed that, and I am aware of that, and I don't think that that's the basis of Mr. Baki's objection. I think his point is that that information hasn't been tied to this witness. I mean, is that fair, Mr. Baki?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
We certainly do not dispute that some hunter safety something was completed at some point, but it's the connection between the two.
Your Honor, may I be heard briefly?
Sure.
Mr. Hemseth's testimony at trial has specific searches, a series of searches that indicate this, that are related to the hunter safety course, and they have a specific date tied to them as they are from the Google subpoena, and so they have the actual date of the search. The certificates that also are in evidence that of the hunter safety course shows just a little bit later. There's also additional Google searches that correspond with the field day searches, which includes the follow-up to the online tests that TPEM was taking on the day of the Google searches, and this is provided in her testimony. But Mr. Castle had access to the Google searches. He had access to Mr. Hemseth's testimony regarding the Google searches and his own experience on using correlative data to understand the evidence, and what trial counsel should have done at trial, with Todd indicating that his children had taken these.
So I think Mr. Baki's point, Ms. Steenson, is essentially that all of the factual assertions that you just made in your argument just need to be asked in the form of a question to the witness so that we can get that into the record. If I'm understanding his objection correctly?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
And I would additionally note, it just was pointed out to me that this document is also copyrighted in 2022, which, if I understand correctly, is after this trial.
So are you objecting to
It just plays into the relevance objection, Your Honor.
Right. Well, and so maybe this document being used as a demonstrative rather than an exhibit, and I guess I'm a little bit confused about how you're intending it to be used. You referred to it both as Exhibit 306 and also Demonstrative M. So we'll maybe need to clarify that at some point too, but I guess maybe you want to address that as well, Ms. Steenson. So,
breaking news is a filing in the Karen Reed case, motion to dismiss, filed by Karen Reed's defense team.
Just to clarify the record for the point that you had just asked, this is, the hunter safety course is what has been previously marked as Exhibit 306. The demonstrative has certain pages from the guide included with the Google searches just for ease of reference. So it is not, we're not jumping from exhibit to exhibit. So it is just for, just to make that exam hopefully a little bit more streamlined, Your Honor.
okay, I understand. Those are two different things.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
147 pages.
All right. Back then to the issue maybe of some additional foundation for this exhibit. Did you wish to follow up on that?
Yes, I would, Your Honor.
Okay,
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Mr. Castle, did you review Mr. Hemes's testimony regarding the Google searches on Todd Mullis 76 Google account?
Not only did I review his testimony and transcript, but I also had opportunity to review the subpoena reply from Google regarding the searches conducted across multiple devices.
Did you review, based on Mr. Hemes's testimony, the searches that were testified to on August of 2018?
I did.
And did those searches stand out to you?
Yes. The subject matter contained within those searches was interesting and curious in the means that it was discussing firearm safety. And that some of the searches conducted also referenced the hunter safety guide, specifically the taking of an online test.
Have you personally taken a hunter safety course?
Objection, relevance.
Overruled.
In the state of Nebraska, I did complete and take the hunter safety guide, the courseware, took the test so I could become a hunter in my state. That's what gave me the understanding that some of these searches were relevant to that particular topic.
Your Honor, I'm going to lay an additional objection at this time that I'm unclear of what the scope of this expert is at this point. I believe he testified that he's a digital forensic expert, a network security consultant, and I believe he was only certified for those purposes, and now it appears that he's trying to be certified as a hunter safety expert and some sort of sociologist on what the inner workings of the Mullis family, what they're watching on TV, what they're Googling, and why, and it far exceeds the scope of this expert's background in digital forensics.
Your Honor, may I be heard briefly?
You may.
Mr. Castle has demonstrated that in addition to being a digital forensic examiner with extracting data and analyzing the evidence, he also uses other evidence to examine such evidence for interpretation and investigation, and in showing how correlates and causes how you can interpret the data. The data used at trial was solely these searches, and it was very misleading without this other information surrounding these searches.
He may not be
and
the
that
best
is
guy to
what
bring in.
Mr. Castle does as his occupation, and he is very well qualified to provide information about what these searches mean with the corroborating evidence.
And briefly, the state likewise believes this testimony is very misleading in that this digital forensic expert is attempting to connect dots far beyond the scope of the foundation that has been laid and beyond the scope of his expertise.
Certainly the court does not consider Mr. Castle to be an expert in hunter safety. Even if he was, that is not an issue that is relevant in any way to this trial. I think we are getting off track and making this issue way more complicated than it needs to be.
This is a bench trial.
Certainly the witness can testify about the commonly accepted practices within his area of expertise used to verify data that he extracts from devices or to interpret the data that he extracts from devices. That's where our focus needs to be, I think. And the court's not going to consider him an expert for anything beyond the areas that he is in fact an expert. So, Ms. Steenson, if you would like to ask another question, you may go ahead and do so.
Yes, Your Honor.
How about we just switch writers midstream? Because all the questions are coming from a different attorney.
I would like to...
Jeff, you got told.
I would
Sorry
like to
about
show
that.
the witness what has been previously admitted as Exhibit 270, and I would like to show page 3.
Every time there's an objection, they just push on and try to say, well, it'll come together later. It hasn't come together yet for the judge. So all these previous objections are still sort of hanging out there, and the state still doesn't, agree to them coming in. As far as the exhibits into evidence.
It's waiting for the signal to come up on the screen.
Oh, that's the judge. She's got that. There you go.
It's still not being displayed yet.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Did you switch devices or?
Erica, can you turn on the TV? It's been admitted. Well, just so we can see what the connectivity issue is potentially.
And Your Honor, we just discussed, since this is admitted, we're fine with this being to help us all see.
Okay, 270, sure.
I also have a paper copy I can just bring up to the witness if that's all right.
That's fine if you'd like, sure. I'm not sure why it's not popping up on the screen. Did you switch devices or?
Yeah.
Okay.
You tried plugging it in again?
Mr. Castle, can you flip to page 3 of this exhibit?
Okay.
Do you see a series of searches that are dated August 7th of 2018 UTC?
At the bottom of the page, yes.
And then this continues up to searches that begin on August 9th, 2018 UTC?
Yes.
And just for the clarity of the record, do the searches go sequentially from the bottom of the page to the top of the page?
Yes.
This is still not working. The search dated August 9th of 2018 at 17:38 UTC. Can you tell me what that search is?
What fraction of firearm incidents occur in the home?
And based on your knowledge and understanding of UTC time, what would, and your knowledge of what time would this search actually have been conducted in Iowa time?
So it's in the time denoted in UTC is in military time, or a 24-hour time period. So it's not denoted in a 12-hour time period. So it's 17:38:25 seconds. So if you subtract at this time, in August would have been daylight savings time, so 5-hour offset. So it would have been 12:38:25 seconds. Would have been the time UTC according to that entry in this document.
And what would that be in Iowa time?
I'm sorry, in 12-hour, I just gave it to you. The minus 5 hours is 12:38:25.
Okay, thank you.
And that's the UTC time code stamp. The adjusted for 12-hour period would have been, it doesn't, sorry, 1,700 hours minus 5, 12 hours, 38 Central Standard Time, daylight savings time adjusted.
Is there a search just a few moments later?
Which one specifically are you asking for?
The one just right above.
Search for examples of elbow carry of a firearm.
And what is the next search that occurs?
The search for checking for an obstruction in your firearm.
And what time was that search done?
17:43.
And now I believe that the exhibit is on the screen. Do these searches continue through August 9th, 2018 at 20:21:42 UTC?
They do. And as you can see from the not only just searched but visited web pages, there are references, multiple references to different states' hunter safety guides.
What indicated specifically in these searches to you that they were connected?
The time frame in which the sites were searched and the subject matter visited subsequently. So there would be a search for a topic surrounding firearms or hunter safety, and then there would be a web page visited pertaining specifically to hunter's education.
Can you look at the Google history, same page, August 9th, 2018 at 17:44:16 UTC. Can you tell me what that website that was visited is?
You said 17 what?
17:44:16 UTC.
Visited Quizlet.com, hunter safety quiz, flashcards.
And the visited site right above that, can you tell me what that is?
hunterseded.com/Washington/study guide, loading and unloading steps of a firearm.
And a few searches up at 17:48:52, can you tell me what that Google history is?
I'm going to object that this exhibit speaks for itself. This was admitted, I believe, as Exhibit 105A at the underlying trial, according to the sticker on the front page. The court can certainly read every search and visited site if it so chooses. The jury would have had the Google searches to review for themselves. I just believe under 403 this is a waste of time in the state's opinion.
Your Honor, may be heard briefly.
I'll allow the applicant to make whatever record they think is necessary. If you want to continue, Ms. Steenson, you may, so the objection is overruled.
And do these searches based on and this Google history based on your knowledge, experience, and education indicate that they are for a hunter safety course, people searching for answers to potential questions?
Objections beyond the expert's scope. The exhibit speaks for itself.
Overruled.
Yes. The searches and subsequent visits to websites would reflect, as far as pertains to digital forensics artifacts and evidence, the viewing and searching for subject matter pertaining to hunter's education and a test therein.
So just for the record, do you find this correlative nature of the searches, starting with the first search we mentioned on August 9th, 2018 at 1738 UTC, what fraction of firearm incidents occurred in the home, that it's related to the search of elbow carry of firearm?
I'm going to object to leading.
Overruled.
The searches as reflected in this document show a pattern of a given subject surrounding firearm safety, then a visit to a web page was very specifically having to do with hunter's education and firearm safety.
Can you look at the search dated and timestamps August 9th, 2018, 1751:53 UTC, and can you tell me what that one says?
It was a search for actions to take if one falls into cold water.
And can you tell me what
getting out is the first action
the
you could
next
take.
Search history is for that search?
Very specifically, you reference the search of what action to take when one falls into cold water. There was a visited website directly after that search on boat education, what to do in falling into cold water treatments as a result of that search.
So your expert opinion, is it your expert opinion that the searches from August 9th, 1738, 25 UTC through August 9th, 2018, 20, 21, 49 are all searches that relate to hunter safety course?
Objection. The foundation hasn't been laid for how these all connect in relevance.
Overruled.
Chronologically, in time, they show a pattern very plainly of a search for a topic, and the topic then visited of a web page that directly correlate to firearm safety, hunter's education, and survival of outdoors. The web history and searches reflect that pattern. The correlation of that data seems fairly straightforward with the evidence of these searches and web history visits.
I would like to talk about Mrs. Mullis' cell phone for a moment. Based on your review of digital forensic evidence, do you know that Mrs. Mullis created her Amy Mullis 5810 account on July 19th, 2018?
There appeared to be a new account created on Ms. Mullis' phone, as reflected by the web history, and as well as some unique dialer codes reflected in her call log.
And is it your understanding that she used this email address to solely communicate with Jerry Frazier?
Objection, foundation, irrelevance, speculation.
And
I would like to show the witness what has been previously admitted as exhibit, I believe 308, but let me just verify.
Judge did not even respond to the objection.
Did you wish to withdraw the question or respond to the objection first?
I would like to place the foundation if that's
okay. Go ahead.
Can you pull up exhibit 308? And can you scroll to the last page? Does this exhibit show the communication between Amy Mullis and Jerry Frazier?
The document shows a number of email threads as communicated by the amylyn5810@gmail.com and an email account of Jerry Frazier70@gmail.com.
Jerry Frazier.
70@gmail.com. And again, as prosecution counsel mentioned, these items are truncated.
I don't believe this is responsive to a pending question.
Let's have a new question, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Based on your extraction and an analysis of Mrs. Mullis's phone and her email records, did Mrs. Mullis email anyone else using the Amy Lynn 5810 Google account?
Objection. There's not foundation laid that this is every email ever sent. This is an extraction of a device, I believe, not an extraction of the Gmail account itself, unless I misunderstood.
Based on your extraction?
I guess I understood it maybe the same way. Do you want to clarify that, please, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Counsel, did you analyze Mrs. Mullis's cell phone?
I did.
Did you analyze her email address, Amy Lynn 5810 Google account?
As the artifacts or evidence was represented on her phone, yes.
Did you receive a subpoena response from the state's discovery on the underlying criminal trial of the Amy Mullis email account?
I did.
Based on your analysis of all the evidence and all the data related to the Amy Lynn 5810 Gmail account and the phone records of Amy Mullis, were you able to determine that Amy Mullis had only emailed Jerry Frazier through this email address?
I'm going to object on speculation, although I understand that that's all the data he saw. I think it's too far to say that conclusively is all of the data that exists.
Your Honor, may I be heard briefly?
Objections overruled. The witness can answer if he is able.
Based on my recollection, yes. This Gmail account created by Ms. Mullis on her device was the primary modes of communication between herself and the account of Jerry Frazier70@gmail.com.
you recall a search regarding checking the content of text messages on the phone?
I do recall that search.
I would like to publish what has been already admitted Exhibit 270 on page 7, which is the Google searches.
You may. The witnesses just asked for some water. Maybe if someone, counsel for applicant, would like to grab that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Page 5.
YouTube is doing YouTubey things.
Are you able to see the exhibit?
I am now.
Okay, so for the record, this is Exhibit 270, page 5. Is there a search on July 21st, 2018 at 1:43:39 UTC?
Yes, I see that entry. That entry reflects a search for checking content of text messages on a phone.
And was this search conducted in UTC time?
That is what the document reflects.
And what would that be in Iowa time?
Missy, congratulations on 2 months. Thank you for the kind words.
Eight.
He's counting. He's counting 6 up. 6 up or 6 down. 6 down.
Sorry. The 1:43:39 isn't the one you wanted, so it'd be 8. 8 a.m. I would believe.
And this would have been on July 20th, 2018 at 8:43 p.m.
Sorry. No, I believe it would be 8 a.m. If all this is in 24-hour time period stamps, then that would reflect a 1 p.m. UTC time code stamp, or minus 5 hours, 8:43 a.m. time period stamp. If these are all reflected in 24-hour time clock designation.
So this is 1:43 a.m. UTC. So minus 6 hours would be 8:43 p.m. Is that right?
Yes, I apologize for that mistake. That would be correct.
And this would have been done on the preceding day of July 20th, 2018, instead of July 21st, 2018?
And to correct my mistake, the 24-hour time period designation would have been in 1,300 hours for a 1 p.m. time frame, so I apologize for that mistake. Yes, that is correct.
Was there any information in the phone records you examined that corroborated this, correlated with this search?
I'm gonna jump on the foundation on that. This appears to be speculative. Right?
I'm sorry. What appears to be speculative specifically?
I guess I'll withdraw the objection and see where it goes.
Okay. Do you remember the question, sir?
She was asking me if this search correlated with an evidence artifact on the phone records for this device as well.
And you may answer that question.
Yes, it did correlate to an interesting record on the as an entry on the phone record. Specifically, as a very short phone number that was an incoming artifact.
Just one moment, Your Honor.
Just got an offer on my house. It's not for sale. All right, I'll tell you now, during lunch, we're going to read the new Karen Reed document, 40 pages of it, 40 pages. So I don't get a lunch, I'm going to read to y'all. It'll be a separate stream. It's a hot document that just dropped. It's not to the Judge Canoni, it's to Superior Court. She's asking for her case to be thrown out. We're going to bring it to you. All the parts they haven't crossed off with the black marker. It's redacted heavily.
Mr. Castle, did you review other Google searches connected to other Google accounts, such as Mullis RN Google account?
In my review of all this data, I had opportunity to review the subpoena returns for multiple Gmail accounts. And it was all taken into consideration in building my conclusions and understanding of these events, yes.
And were there similar searches on this Mullis RN at Gmail account to the search presented in Exhibit 270?
Yes.
I'm going to object as vague and overly broad. This is 270 is 12 pages of, I don't want to characterize a number on it, but it's a lot of searches.
12 is the number.
Can you ask a more specific question, please, counsel?
Yes.
No one's sitting on the state side.
Based on the search we just mentioned about checking the content of text messages on the phone, were there similar searches on the Mullis RN Google account that you saw during your analysis and examination of the forensic digital evidence in this case?
As previously stated, there were multiple accounts tied to Ms. Mullis's phone. The Mullis RN account and the Amy Mullis 5810 account being tied to the device. There were parallel searches that were conducted with these accounts tied to the device. So yes, there was overlap of the searches as conducted on this device.
She had my name and address.
Your Honor.
Yes.
This is, as you can tell from the people sitting at this table, we're having a little bit of a technical problem pulling the exhibits that we need for this witness.
Can we take lunch?
That is obviously the fault of the attorneys, but we're having a little bit of a technical problem doing that. And I don't want to waste the court's time, and I don't want to waste the witness's time. And I'm wondering if it would be possible for us to possibly take an earlier lunch so that we can get these exhibits pulled, so that we can move through this, so that we can move expeditiously, which I think is our goal, Your Honor.
Certainly, if you think that's the best way to use our time, we can do that. It is about 11:30 now. Are you thinking you'd want to break until 1, or should we come back a little earlier?
I think 1 would make sense, Your Honor.
Okay. Let's take our lunch break. We'll plan on resuming at 1 p.m. Thank you.
All right, and just like that, we get to. We're not panning up. Apparently, this is the shot we get. This is the shot. Judge says, "Thank you. I was about to ask for a break myself." And with that, we will we'll put this one on hold as we're struggling. They're struggling to get the information out of the witness. The witness is not being extremely confident in his answers, which might be that the questions are not quite really good and ready. We see a lot of conferring at the appellant table. Is that right? Applicant table. There's a lot of discussion between every question, almost like they need to confer. They need to get their act together. This needs to be cleaner. There needs to be better foundation laid. We need to tie everything in so the judge isn't sustaining objections from the state, and just get this in and get it done. When the state presents evidence, they are so quick. They cut straight to the chase. A lot of what the lawyers are doing for Todd right now seems to be tailored for a jury trial. And the judge has said, look, that's not what we have here. Bench trial is different. I understand things. You can go faster on certain parts. We're not saying skip required parts, but you can go faster in some areas and jump straight to the chase. And they're trying to jump in the parts that they need to do. So a little frustrating. Hopefully they can get it together. We are going to, all right, it's talking so fast. I'm sorry. I'm excited. We have a document right here we're going to jump to. We have I have some music to play in the background. That's what I do. We have a fresh, hot off the press document from the Karen Reed trial. And I'm curious about that trial. I don't like the drama that surrounds it, but this is a motion where Karen Reed's team is asking for the case to be thrown out, but they're not sending it to Judge Cannoni. They're sending this one straight to Superior Court. They're going up above her head saying, this is too much, and we're going to get into the dirt, at least the parts that haven't been blacked out by the judge, because the judge did impound this document as soon as she could. And it was redacted heavily. Like, as soon as she got it, the court took possession of this document and said, no one can see it unless I give you permission. They blacked out the parts that they thought didn't need to go public. And then we got that copy. It's still juicy. It's still good. About 40 pages of it. We'll read it here at lunch. Tonight, when you go home, please hug the people you love. Smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better. And please stay safe till we go live in moments. With our thumbnails already up, the portal's created, so we're gonna jump right over there. Yeah, I'm gonna get some water, so give me just a couple minutes to go live. I'm gonna get some water, and we're gonna read together during lunch, and then we'll be back with this one afterwards. So our lunchtime will be full. We'll be full, and then tonight we have the podcast. Yes, it's a good day. All right, y'all have a good one. We'll see you on the flip side.